state, and local tax code. As you know, Mr. Speaker, the Buffett Rule is a concept named for the wealthy investor, Warren Buffett, who is known for his good business decisions, and who famously said his secretary should not be required to pay higher taxes than he does. Right now, Mr. Speaker, according to our own professionals at Maine Revenue Services, professionals overseen by the Chief Executive, Maine's secretaries and truck drivers and child care workers are now paying higher taxes than their bosses. Very much higher taxes than the wealthiest among us in Maine. It is time for this to stop. It is time to reduce taxes on those who pay the most and to equalize them for those individuals who are paying too little as a portion of each dollar earned. At present, a single mother of two in Maine who works full-time at minimum wage, full-time, pays nearly twice as much per dollar as a person making $1 million per year. I'm going to repeat that. A single mother of two working full-time at minimum wage pays nearly twice as much per dollar of her income as a person making $1 million per year. This comes from Maine Revenue Services. It is due to the regressive nature of property and sales taxes, as well as the stacking of income tax credits, exemptions, and deductions by a select few who are able to do so. I'd be happy to provide the Maine Revenue Services analysis that demonstrates this. It's presented biannually to the Taxation Committee. LD 1113 would correct this inequality. Through its credit mechanism, it would actually cut taxes substantially for hundreds of thousands of middle and working class families. But more immediately, Mr. Speaker, the bill as amended today would fully restore revenue sharing to its present levels over the next 2 years, avoiding the roughly one-third cut in revenue sharing to our municipalities back home and our property taxpayers. It would avoid that property tax hike that will otherwise occur. I want to respond to an objection that I think may come forward, that perhaps the wealthy are taxed enough already. And I want to remind folks that it isn't just income taxes that people pay. It's the sales tax, it's the property tax, it's all of those taxes combined that this bill concerns itself with. The overall tax burden as analyzed by Revenue Services. And I want to point out, too, that there are wealthier Mainers who do pay at the average rate per dollar, or even more than the average rate per dollar. That is why LD 1113 proposes an individualized equalization test. An individualized equalization test, only for those in the top 1% of income earners. The questions LD 1113 poses to us here today are political, economic, and moral. Politically, a Maine Buffett rule is supported by 4 in 5 Maine voters. A national Buffett rule is supported by Maine's entire tripartisan congressional delegation. Senator Susan Collins famously has supported and voted for the Buffett rule at the national level. Can we today, Mr. Speaker, stand with Maine people and with our entire United States delegation, or can't we? Economically, research shows that fair taxes assist growth. When the struggling full-time worker in Maine has a little more money in his or her pocket, businesses, like the one that I work for, have more customers. Work is rewarded, productivity increases. We grow our economy from the middle out. Mr. Speaker, I believe we want a thriving economy and a thriving middle class in this body. And I hope we can vote for this bill for that reason. And finally, morally, Maine people have always believed that we should do our fair share, each one of us, from the very days of our state's inception. At present, our tax code does not ask each of us to do our fair share. I hope that this body, this legislature, will be remembered as the one that asks each Mainer to pull our weight, to do our fair share. I believe we can, we do, and we will move forward in all three of these ways. In closing, I want to thank the representative from Hollis, a Republican from the committee, for voting for this bill, the representative from Brooks, an independent from the committee, for voting for this bill, and all of the Democratic members of the committee for voting for this bill. I also want to thank the representative from Lewiston, Representative Carey, for his friendly amendment that would restore revenue sharing and keep our towns and property taxes whole. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When the vote is taken, I request it to be by the yeas and nays.